Welcome to episode 63 of Beyond Social Media Show. I am David Erickson, your host. You can find me at @DErickson on Twitter. My blog is e-strategyblog.com, and I am with, of course, my co-host, B.L. Ochman. B.L. you can find at What's Next on Twitter. Her blog is what'snextblog.com. She's CEO of Maximum-Plus.com for all things Google+, and of course she writes for Ad Age as well. And as you know, our format is we talk about the worst in communications, online communications of the week. We talk about the best in online communications of the week. We talk about some shiny new objects we've discovered, and we roll it up with some stats you'll want to know. And BL, you have the honors as usual. What was the worst of the week?
Well, we had some pretty bad stuff that happened on 9/11. I'll tell you that. And you know, I tracked this stuff for while, and then I just buy it. But I would have to say the worst brand tweet of the week came from Bikram Yoga, I'm still caffeinating, in Arlington, so it's called Bikram Arlington, and their tweet said 9 + 11 = 20% off. Patriot Day sale on Bikram Yoga. And then somebody said over 3,000 innocent people died 13 years ago, and you want to celebrate with 20% off yoga? This is done in poor taste. So later in the day, whoever it was who tweeted that said, "I'm so sorry, I was on Yoga Brain at the time." And the 100% insensitive tweet of the week, in addition to that, was from DiGiorno Pizza. As you know, and as David is going to detail, the Ray Rice debacle inspired the hashtag Why I Stayed and Why I Left on Twitter. And so people said some pretty amazing things, you know, in Why I Stayed, because he isolated me from my friends and family and I had no one to turn to when the abuse started. You know, so these were really serious things, and because I thought if I loved him enough, he would stop being abusive. Because and I left because I knew he would kill me eventually. I mean, these are not people, you know, sort of speaking off the top of their head. And DiGiorno's social media team tweeted, "Why I stayed, you had pizza." You know, Twitter memes come and go. Brands need to stay focused on core values, and in my opinion, I really think that brands should have just shut up on 9/11, and that they really should stay out of serious emotional issues. Period.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless it's, you know, unless you've got a serious cause marketing program in place, and you have a long-standing history of being behind a certain cause, in which case you probably have a good ear for what's proper and what's not. Stay away from it. I mean, these are demonstrations of just having a tin ear for you know, what should be obvious. So,
well, you know, the other ones that came up on 9/11, the Build-A-Bear workshop suggested that you build a commemorative bear. Huggies. I mean, I really just don't want my diapers talking to me, anybody's diapers, I don't wear diapers, anybody's diapers talking to me about 9/11. You know, I just really don't want to hear from my toilet paper about 9/11. I don't want to hear from my coffee or my Cinnabons. Just shut up. And
right.
and this is just, we talk about this all the time. There appear to be no checks and balances in social media, and you know, there are no marketing emergencies. You have to think about what you do before you do it.
Well, I mean, especially trying to obviously take advantage of a tragedy to sell product. Really? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a guaranteed failure. That's a guaranteed you're going to get backlash. Anyway.
Seriously, I mean, really, really seriously. So, you know, there was a lot of bad news this week, and you've got some.
Yeah. So this is a rather lengthy one, but it's illustrative of how not to handle a really bad situation, and this just blew up in the NFL's face, in the Baltimore Ravens' face, and of course I'm talking about the Ray Rice story. So Ray Rice, running back for the Baltimore Ravens, back in February, Ray Rice and his then fiancee Janae Palmer were involved in an early morning fight in an elevator in Atlantic City, New Jersey casino. Atlantic City police say Rice and Palmer struck each other with their hands and refused medical treatment at the scene. They were arrested and charged with simple assault. That was the beginning of this story. A couple of 4 days later, TMZ released a video of Rice dragging Palmer out of the elevator in which the incident occurred.
Unconscious Palmer.
Right. And then in February and March, Ravens, and this is based on a CNN timeline that has more points to it, so we'll leave a link in the show notes so you can see those. So I'm giving you a condensed version for the sake of time, but February and March, Ravens head coach John Harbaugh vouches for Rice's character and credibility at a news conference and then later to reporters. In March 28th, Rice and Palmer get married. In May, Rice pleads not guilty and enters a diversionary program. In late May, May 23, the Ravens hold a news conference with Rice and Palmer sitting at a table next to each other. Rice apologizes for, quote, the situation my wife and I were in. So he didn't really apologize for hitting her. The Ravens live tweeted the event, including one that reads, Janae Rice says she deeply regrets the role she played the night of the incident. That tweet has been deleted. So she regrets being hit by being in the path of Ray Rice's fist. I mean, what does she have to regret? What was her role? And, you know, they're taking advantage of this situation for promotional purposes, for trying to deal with a crisis situation, rather than dealing with the crisis situation the way they probably should have in the beginning.
Her role was punching bag. That was her role.
Exactly. July, then, the NFL suspends Rice for 2 games. Rice receives a standing ovation from Ravens fans 2 days later. So, you know, we're not just dealing with this situation, we're also dealing with a cultural problem, right? And that's pretty evident. August 28, amid criticism of Rice's punishment, the NFL announces new, harsher policies for domestic violence and other violent conduct. The penalty for a first offense is a 6-game ban under the personal conduct policy, with longer bans for extenuating circumstances. So the NFL is trying to address the backlash from the mere 2-game suspension that Rice received. September 8th, TMZ releases a surveillance footage from inside the elevator showing Rice punching Palmer. Hours later, the Ravens terminate Rice's contract, and Goodell announces Rice's indefinite suspension from the NFL. So the video, I mean, they knew there was video. They knew that he had punched her.
Seen it. They said they didn't see the video, and
but they knew it existed.
Press said we sent it to them. They saw it.
Yep, they knew it existed, and they knew the fact that he knocked her unconscious. Right? They knew that happened. September 9, TMZ reports the NFL never contacted the casino to request the video. NFL says they asked for any and all information about the incident, including video from inside the elevator. The video is not made available to us, end quote. September 10, the Associated Press reports that a law enforcement official tells them he sent a DVD with a copy of the elevator video to an NFL office in April, and on April 9, he received a voicemail acknowledging the video was received. So it's blown up, and it should have blown up, but it should have been handled completely differently. And look at, you know, I've said, as much as you know how much I love football, you know how much I love to watch football, play football. I'm a big fan of the game, but I have often said that, you know, a lot of things that happen inside the confines of NFL teams probably are illegal. In any other context. Back in 2009, the New Orleans Saints had a bounty on players to injure them and get them from the game. In any other context, that would be a hit. That would be illegal. You know, so anyway.
Well, then there's this morning's newspaper headline about, I don't even know the guy's name, and the football player who beat his son with a tree branch. And what did he get? Suspended for a game? I mean,
that's an ongoing situation. That unfortunately is my team, the Minnesota Vikings. That was Adrian Peterson, the best running back in the NFL. And yes, he's been not demoted, but he's not going to play on Sunday. So that is still working its way through whatever process it's working its way through. No excuses there. You know, I mean, you need to be able to discipline your children without using sticks.
Well, and obviously this happened publicly enough for it to be on the front page of the New York Daily News. So I mean, these things, they're not worried about what they're doing. You know, when you looked at the video of Rice, you know, dragging Palmer out of the elevator, and he was standing there going, oh, you know, he was kind of looking, going, oh. And there was another guy standing there. I guess he was a security guy or something. And, you know, he didn't have a real reaction. I mean, it was very chilling to see that. But anyway, you know, between that and the brain injuries, football is not my favorite sport. So,
well, I mean, you know, the last point I'll make is that, you know, if it were any other employment context, and you knew that an employee had actually, you know, punched out his fiance unconscious, you'd want to fire him. You don't want that type of person in your environment, in your among your employees. That's
well, Ray Hills is commenting, and he's so correct. Social media has given everybody first row seats in a digital Jerry Springer show. I mean, that in a nutshell is what's happening. But you know, yeah, the whole world is watching. And everybody's got to be paying attention to that. So,
yep. Let me. I got a perfect transition. I got to go into my next worst. It's quick.
Go right ahead.
The whole world is watching, unless it's Apple's live news conference.
That didn't work out that well, did it?
No, it didn't. So Apple tried to do a live stream of their launch of their new products on September 9. Apple unveiled their new products: the Apple Watch, the iPhone 6, and iPhone 6 Plus. And fans trying to watch the event via Apple TV and Safari were greeted by colorful bars and an Apple TV truck schedule. Even if you could get connected to the live stream, and understanding Tim Cook and Phil Schiller was nearly impossible thanks to a Chinese translation track playing loudly over the main theme. So those who were lucky enough to actually get the live feed were listening to it in Chinese. The disaster lasted for about the first 30 minutes of the live stream. And the culprit, according to what is this? I got to give credit here. Cult of Mac website. The culprit was some JavaScript that Apple added to the stream page to allow for ticker of tweets of the event that basically executed a denial of service attack on their own page. It essentially reloaded the page every few milliseconds, and as a result, it artificially forced the player to degrade the quality of the video, so it dropped the bitrate really low, and therefore the stream was hard to. As far as the Chinese translation is concerned, that it appears that an Apple employee must have set up the encoding incorrectly. But this from the company that set the standard for new product introductions, right?
Well, not only that, but, you know, was nobody testing to see how the website was going to work? I mean, the whole world would be watching. Wouldn't you want to do like 4 million tests before you went live with the thing?
Yeah.
Duh. So are we on to good news?
We are.
You want to give us some?
Sure. Well, from the out of the frying pan and into well, perhaps not the fire, but a fire of sales. Apple's new products they introduced. So you know they didn't execute on the live stream, but it looks like they're executing with their new products. So they introduced the Apple Watch. It has an early 2015 release. It includes a health monitor. It's voice and touch activation. They also introduced the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. Those are scheduled to be in they're on back order now and scheduled to be in stores on the 19th. iPhone 6 is $199 with a 2-year contract. iPhone 6 Plus is $299 with a 2-year contract. $800+ without a contract. They both, all three devices use Apple Pay, which is near field communication, so that's a big thing. And their largest screens are the phablet type of stupid name for a device, by the way. But the huge screen devices that Samsung has had so much success with. So we've got larger screens. The 6 is a larger screen. The 6 Plus is a much larger screen. YouTube's new album was waiting for you in iTunes for free. As a result of the launch, of course, YouTube did some early promotional stuff with Apple as well. They both, all of the devices have touch and force-sensitive displays. So not only touching the screen, but the screen recognizes the force with which you touch the screen. So some new technology there. I have sort of, I'm not all about a watch because I was happy to lose a watch. I hated wearing them when we got phones that had clocks on them, right? So I ditched them, so I probably won't do that. But as much as I believe that the tablets are not leaving anytime soon, I probably will upgrade to a phablet to just see what it's like. So
I'm sad that the iPod is apparently going to be gone because I really love my iPod, and I wake up every morning to my iPod in an iPod alarm clock. And when we get to shiny objects, I have some great ways to wake up, by the way. So one of the best things that I saw this week, or possibly ever, is that Jason Falls has joined a firm called Elasticity, which no one ever heard of. And it's a PR firm, and they have a sense of humor and humility. I am in love with them. And what they did was they made a video, and they said they had all these people, Scott Monty and Jay Bayer, and all these social media luminaries, and they were saying, "Who the hell is Elasticity? Jason Falls? What? Why is he going there?" And they made this whole video, and they talked about it, and they made fun of themselves, and in the process, they they showed you that they have a sense of humor, that they take themselves lightly, and they were able to showcase themselves in a way that makes everybody remember who they are. It was the best personnel announcement in the history of the world. I've never seen one better. So,
that's great. That's great. Well, that's an example of taking a brand, a personal brand, right, and leveraging that, using that to create publicity for a less strong brand, perhaps, than the personal brand. So good for them.
Well, absolutely a wonderful thing. So just a little housekeeping. We are using Comment Tracker, which means that if you put a comment on the event page in Google+ or on Twitter using the hashtag BS Media Show, we will get them in our stream, and at an appropriate time in the broadcast, we'll go and respond to whatever your comments are. So in terms of adorable news, there's a company called Big Lots Pet Supplies. It's talking about somebody you never heard of, and they had a video this week. And instead of doing come to Big Lots and buy things for your animals, they staged a focus group, and around the table at the focus group were dogs and cats and a bird, and they didn't script it. They decided to let the two actors, who are hilarious, ad-lib, and they had puppies and they had older dogs, and so they'd say, like, "What do you think of this?" And the dog would chew it up. And puppies were chewing pencils and the pads, and some of the dogs ripped up the toys or showed no interest in them. And, it had 16,000 views in under a week, 82 likes. My guess, it's going to go viral. Is it going to sell products? I'm not so sure, but it sure is adorable.
You can't go wrong with animals, especially interviewing animals. It reminds me of Aardman Studios and back in the day, Creature Comforts, where they do claymation interviews with animals at the zoo and talk about how they like being in the zoo, and the tiger is going, "Oh, I like space. I like space. I like to swim. I like to run. I like Anyway.
These are absolutely adorable. The other thing that I thought was really fun, and I'm really big on brands taking things not so seriously. Foot Locker challenged fans to race against the clock in pitch blackness through this really creepy maze to win a pair of shoes from a new triple black collection. So they created this really scary experience where you went into this space without sight, and it was Nike and Adidas originals that were made exclusively for Foot Locker. And the people who were participating, they entered this dark room, and this creepy voice says, "Are you scared? Don't be scared." And then limbs come out of the wall. Some of them are real, some of them are fake. And if you found the shoes, they're telling them don't be scared and telling them to search the room. They're saying, "Are you afraid of the dark?" And then the lights cut out, and there's laughter and thunder and screams. It's really scary. And then, if you found the shoes, you had 5 seconds to exit through this maze. And, some of the people made it and some of the people didn't, and it was hilarious. So kudos to them.
That's great. That's great. Well, experiential marketing, right? So I've got an example of experiential marketing too. A delicious, edible billboards. Billboards made of cake. So there's a British confectionery brand called Mr. Kipling that used 13,360 cakes to make a billboard outside of London's Westfield Centre Mall. The assembly of the board took 7 hours. It was after it was assembled, the public was allowed to sample the sweet advertising. The billboard was designed by food artist Michelle Wibowo, whose resume also includes a portrait of Prince William and George made out of 16,000 pieces of I don't even know what this is, but chocolate, some type of chocolate. So this is really sort of, you're seeing this as a trend, a 1-2 punch of experiential marketing coupled with content marketing, right? So you create an experience and then you document it, usually through video. So there's a time-lapse video of this, of the making of the billboard, right? The assembly of the billboard, and then a time-lapse video of the eating of the billboard, right? Great. Who couldn't like that? So far, though, they haven't done very well with the execution of it. 5,344 views on Michelle Wibowo's YouTube channel. The video has not been uploaded to Mr. Kipling's YouTube channel, and it's not featured on their site. So they're not really taking as much advantage of this as they could be, but still a good idea.
You know, this sounds like Hansel and Gretel with the gingerbread house in the woods. I don't know if I would want to eat that.
Well, yeah, you got to know, are they covered? I couldn't really tell from the pictures if they're covered, if the cakes were covered in cellophane or something to keep them fresh.
I know, I wonder about that. I mean, ew. But does that bring us to shiny objects? Because I have some I love.
You do, and you have a handful. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a little trouble getting up in the morning. I'm not a morning person, and I always wonder, like, who decided that 9 a.m. was important? You know, I try to be at my computer promptly by 11 a.m., and I'm often still here at 11 p.m., so it's not that I'm lazy, I'm just allergic to morning. So I was looking for ways to wake up, and I came across the SpinMe Alarm Clock app, and in order to turn off the alarm, you have to get out of bed and spin around until it turns off. So one of their tweets on SpinMe Alarm Clock, SpinMe Alarm on Twitter, said it's amazing how fast we wake up when realizing how much we've overslept. Wonder if that feeling could be incorporated in an alarm clock.
You yourself have to spin around, or you spin around the alarm clock?
Well, it's on your phone, so you have to get up and spin around with your phone to shut off the alarm. Yeah, it doesn't just shut off. Then, this is my favorite one, although there's no way I'm waking up to this one. And this is the Horror Channel's Night Terror Alarm App, and it's a sleep aid and alarming alarm app. So basically it has 5 levels of terror, and if you're addicted to horror and you can't get enough of it even when you're asleep, then this is for you. And so it's designed for being placed under your pillow, and it has these creepy sounds: church bells ringing, devils laughing, somebody repeatedly whispering, "Open your eyes." And it tells short, spooky stories, and you can set the terror alarm from 1 to 5, and they're designed to influence your dreams.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Which you can share on Facebook and Twitter. And then if you really can't sleep, then they have the horror TV channel listings are included. And so you have to keep your TV set nearby, and it comes with a warning that it might not be suitable for everyone. That's putting it mildly.
Follow the money. Follow the money. We now know who's really behind this. It's the Horror Channel.
Isn't that great, though?
Happen to keep you awake. You might as well watch TV.
So the third one, which is equally creepy if you ask me, is the Wakie social alarm clock, and it's got a community that you join, and it matches users from all over the world to wake each other up with phone calls. And the calls automatically disconnect after 60 seconds so that there's no awkward goodbyes. You know,
It's not awkward enough.
And, you know, I mean, this one's not for me because, as somebody noted, talking to someone is the last thing I want to do when I first wake up. Talking to a stranger is the last thing I want to do when I first wake up.
Uh-huh.
You know, if these things don't wake you up, I don't know what to tell you.
So, BL, I didn't have anything listed for a shiny new object, but I do have one. And it's not necessarily new, but it is a shiny object. And I recently used it in a project. It's called the WuFoo Forms, WuFoo.com, WuFoo Forms. And it is a site that, a service that creates online forms for you. They're very elegant, a lot of options. You can customize them perfectly. And how I use them, the reason I used them for this project was we're using MailChimp as the email marketing service, but MailChimp only allows you to have one landing page to configure for tracking conversions, right? So if you want to track other things aside from email signups, if you want to track downloads of white papers or whatever else, you're limited with what MailChimp, as wonderful as it is, has to offer. So what this service, I've coupled this service with MailChimp. It has a plug-in. It plays nicely with MailChimp. So anybody who enters a form on your website using WuFoo Forms, it records it directly to your MailChimp account. But it allows you to redirect people to multiple landing pages so that you can track with your analytics where your conversions are coming from in multiple different places. So
you'll
go
put
down
to the site in the show notes?
Yep.
Yeah. So that brings us to your daily numbers, Dave.
Right. So it was all Apple all last week, so may as well end it up with Apple stats here. So I have been, again, I said it before, I said it in an article a couple of weeks ago that I don't think tablets are going away anytime soon, but I'm going to challenge myself with that with a set of numbers here. So Apple's first phablet, stupid name, is on back order for more than a month at some carriers after going on sale for one day. So they're doing gangbusters with the new product. The Apple iPhone 6 Plus is sold out at major carriers and in some cases won't ship for up to 6 weeks, according to Recode. They're starting at $300 for a 2-year contract. Top-end phone is 6 Plus. It costs $950 without a contract. AT&T told Recode that demand for both iPhones is greater than the carrier has seen for any phone since the iPhone 5 2 years ago. NDP, a group that tracks the retail sector, said that 2 years ago only 2% of phones were sold. 2% of phones sold were 4.7 inches and larger. Now 25% of phones are that size, and you can thank Samsung for that because they pioneered the phablet size phone. And app analytics firm Flurry said 18% of activity detected from Android devices these days is coming from phablets, and that's up 7% a year ago. Again, I don't think tablets are going away anytime soon, but the popularity of these new devices is undeniable.
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but Samsung did a series of 5 videos, and they were making fun of all of the new features of the Apple products, but what they left out of those videos were what features the Samsung phone had that were better, because they don't have any. Okay, so I just want to go to a comment from Scowcroft, who says, terror alarm. Genre alarms could be the start of something big, but yours is a family show, so we won't go there. Yeah, we try and keep it clean. So that brings us to the end of episode 63 of the Beyond Social Media Show. Dave and I will be back next week with episode 64. We will timestamp the video, and it will be on YouTube and on the Beyond Social Media Show blog. We will include the playlist with the links to everything that we mentioned. And you can find Dave online at eStrategyBlog.com, on Twitter at D. Erickson, of course on Google+, where he's David Erickson. And you can find me at What's Next blog. I am CEO of Maximum-Plus for all things Google+. I occasionally write for Ad Age Digital Next and should do that again soon. And you will find me on Twitter with @What'sNext. Thank you all for watching today, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.